Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I am going to be reading audiobooks for a week. Now I have a really strong desire to read at the moment. I really want to read, but I just haven't got a lot of time with uni and I've got so many deadlines that I haven't done like any of them, so I really need to get going on that. So I have only really got time to read audiobooks at the moment. I'm going to be reading the audiobooks on either Libby, which is the online database for my library, basically. If you haven't got the Libby app, get it. It is so good. You get so many free audiobooks. You can get ebooks as well, but in the UK you can't transfer them to a Kindle, which is quite annoying. So I'm going to be listening to most of the books in this video on Libby, and then I'm also going to use Amazon Music, and I have 1 credit for that. So I'm going to be using Amazon Music for one of the books. I currently have 2 holds on Libby for 2 books, so I'll be trying to get through them in this video. The timing's running out for me to read them, so I need to get on it. The books that I'm going to be reading in this video are, I'll pop it here. It is Book Boyfriend by Lucy Vine. I have heard so many good things about this and I've wanted to read it for the longest time. I think I put a hold for this book on Libby about probably 4 months ago or something like that, something mental, and it's just got in, so I'm going to be reading that. It is about these 2 twin sisters who have been kind of doing life separately. I don't think they like each other, so they have been very separate in the way that they've been going through life. And I think this book is about them like kind of reconnecting together, maybe finding romances along the way. One of the sisters is the reason for the book title, and she finds a note in a book, and then I think they just start passing notes to each other without knowing who the other one is. And I think she starts to fall in love with him without ever meeting him. And yeah, that's kind of how the story starts, basically. So I'm looking forward to getting into that, seeing if it's good, seeing how the UK element works as well. The second book that I've got a hold for on Libby is, pop it here, Passion Project by London Sperry. I think it's Sperry. I think so. I've kind of gone into this blind, like I, again, put a hold for it months ago, and there's so many people waiting after me as well. I think it's about the, like, about being in your 20s and not really know where you're going, which, love, so excited for, because I'm kind of feeling that at the moment. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna go into it blind, see what happens, really. I don't want to know too much, because I think when you read a blurb sometimes it just takes away from like the story a little bit, because sometimes they go a bit in depth. The third book is Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. Now I watched Ellen Catherine talk about how much she loved this book, like I think in her most recent video as of filming. And I got an arc of How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh a couple months ago, and I wasn't a massive fan. I liked the writing style, but I wasn't a huge fan of the actual plot, because it felt quite, it was a little bit boring for me. So it's set at Christmas, so it's a nice little Christmas book, which I am really in the mood for. And I think they're on vacation. So it's around these 2 people getting stuck in an airport, or like they're trying to get home, they can't get home. So once a year in the last 10 years, they have gotten a flight together home, and I think it just goes in depth into their relationship, their friendship to begin with, and how it progresses through the 10 years. So we'll see what it's like. I am really looking forward to that one. I finished Book Boyfriend last night and I absolutely loved it. I rated it a 4.5 and it was so good. I think it was just what I needed for at the moment. It wasn't, the story kind of like follows each of the sisters' romances, but I think it's more about the actual sisters and like their relationship over the romances. And I just found it so refreshing because it was such a like newer take on like a contemporary romance, and the element of it being set in the UK was just, I don't know, it just felt like so familiar to me, and like the lingo was the same, and there was so many like references, like contemporary references, and I just like, normally I'm not a huge fan of that in a book because I like to, I don't massively like to see that in books, as like books is like a kind of escape from that, but I just found it's like worked so well. And yeah, there was just so many things. So at one point they were talking about like the whole Holly and Phil sitch with and like them skipping the queue to see the Queen stuff like that, and it was just such random pieces of like pop culture that were just thrown in there, and I just found it really funny. And I think because I've read it a little bit later than when it came out, I think it just like, it's just so funny to read. Yeah, I enjoyed it so much. It was, yeah, really, really good if you can read it. The audiobook is really good. The narrator and then the voice actors for the girls was just, I don't know, it just really brought me into the story more. And yeah, if you can read Book Boyfriend, please read it because it is so good. I got it free off of Libby, so I haven't had to like pay for it or anything, which is always a benefit. But yeah, loved it. Hi everyone, so I finished Passion Project by London Sperry yesterday on my commute, and I've got some mixed feelings about it. I really enjoyed the first like half of the book. So it basically follows Bennett, who is heavily grieving, and that does take up a lot of the story, which is quite nice to hear about. But she goes on a date and stands him up, and then basically goes back to get her wallet, I think, her purse, and then they start this passion project, and it's basically trying to find her passion. And I really enjoyed the concept, and I really enjoyed the first half of the book. But then it got to like the second half of the book, and it was just going downhill for me. There was basically like 2 third act conflicts, and I can't say I'm a massive fan of a third act conflict anyway, but it felt like there was 2 of them, and I was like, oh my god. And Henry, who is the guy she goes on the date with, he is lovely and I really liked him, but a lot of it talks about grief, and I don't know, I just wasn't a massive fan of the ending. It felt like she was still holding on to this grief, which was totally fair enough. It just felt like she wasn't ready to move on. And I don't know, I felt like she was in a place where the romance didn't make sense for me, because I just felt like it was such a hard position to be in. But yeah, for me it just felt like she wasn't quite ready for that. But I don't know, but I rated it a 3.5 star because I did really enjoy it, and I did really enjoy the concept. But it just wasn't gonna get into the like 4-star zone, because it just wasn't, because the end just wasn't for me really. But I finished it. I started it 2 days ago, and I read like 25%, and then yesterday, literally on the whole of my commute, I just listened to that the entire time, on like 2 times speed. Yeah, I was really enjoying it, but my Libby was running out, so I needed to get through it. So yeah, I did enjoy it. Just the ending, I think, could have been slightly different for me. So over the next couple days, I'm going to be listening to Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. I'm going to be listening to it on Amazon Music. Hi guys, so I completely didn't film anything of me reading Holiday Romance. So there's that. But I finished it last night, and I rated it a 3.75. I was split between a 3.75 and a 4, but I don't know, for some reason I just couldn't give it a 4. There was no reason for it at all, but couldn't give it a 4. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good book. So I actually preferred the second half of the book this time to the first half, which is completely the opposite to Passion Project. So it basically follows Molly and Andrew, who meet when Molly's friend is dating him, and Molly's friend breaks up with him, and like she's just not a nice person. And they're on a flight to go home together. Well, not together, but, or maybe it is together. No, it's not together. No, they're not together. They just happen to be on the same flight together, and they know each other. Then the next year they see each other again on the same flight, and the following year, and then after that they kind of make it a routine to see each other every year and get the same flight home together. They have been, I think it spans over like 10 years, so or maybe a bit under, but within that time either one of them or both of them have partners, so they never kind of go there. And then on this flight they discover that they have some feelings for each other, and it's basically trying to get them home in time for Christmas. And yeah, that's kind of the plot that it follows. I really enjoyed the plot. I thought, because they are going to like multiple different places, and I just thought, yeah, it was really fun, really like fast pace. I don't know why I couldn't give it a higher rating. I think some parts I felt a little bit like disconnected. I think I wasn't engaged in the story at every single moment, unlike what I was with Book Boyfriend. I mean, even at times with Book Boyfriend I wasn't completely, but I think that also happens quite a lot with reading audiobooks. Like there will just be moments where like your mind will just go somewhere else instead of listening to the book. But I've had it in the past with audiobooks where you are so engrossed in it and it's like you can't think of anything else. So yeah, that's the reason for my rating. Did really enjoy it. if I was to rank the books, obviously based on my rating, you might be able to figure it out, but it would go book, boyfriend, then holiday romance, and then passion project. But thank you so much for watching the video, and next couple videos are going to be about my 2025 wrap-ups or my 2026 anticipated releases. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing those in the next coming weeks, so stay tuned. But thank you for watching. Bye.